Fancy the Chargers for that game, so I'm going to go for a Chargers victory. Okay, how wrong was I about the Chargers and Jags match? I had the Chargers to win, and in my head, quite easily, I couldn't have been more wrong. What an unbelievable performance, especially on the ground by the Jags, and what an equally terrible performance. I've never seen Herbert play so poorly in his entire NFL career. Before we start, please do me a massive favor and hit the subscribe button. It will really help my channel out and really help me get more of these videos to you. Now let's get on with the video. Jags move forward to 6-4, where the Chargers now at 7-4. This was an unbelievably one-sided performance. Jags getting a season high of 30 first downs. That's huge. They were almost untouchable on the ground, rushing for 192 yards. If you put that into perspective, they threw for 153. So if Trevor Lawrence threw for 153, he was something like 14 out of 22 throws. Threw pretty well, but their ground game, the Chargers just could not handle it. And the standouts, Tootin, the rookie for the Jags, I think he had something like 15 carries and 74 yards. And Etienne, something very similar. I think he had something like 17 carries and 73 yards. Both of them getting on the scoreboard, helped out massively by their offensive linemen, creating gaps everywhere, and the Chargers' defense just couldn't cope with them. The Chargers were the total opposite end of that. I think Justin Herbert threw something like 10 out of 18. Unbelievably low for him. He threw a pick. He got sacked a couple of times. They threw, like I said, a total of 81 yards. But they also only ran 42 yards. And if you think two of the players I mentioned, Etienne and Tootin, both scored more running yards than the entire Chargers team. That was huge. There was so many things that went wrong for the Chargers today, but you're never winning a game like that. It was such a poor performance by them, and equally such a good performance by the Jaguars. Their performance was so bad that they ended up taking Justin Herbert off. That's a career low for him, and it just summed up the whole game for the Chargers. The game itself started off really, really slow. So I was watching it, and the first quarter went, and I think there was only 3 points. Chargers score a field goal. And I was there thinking, well, it's probably going to go the way I was thinking. First quarter down, 3-0. And at the second quarter, Tootin gets a touchdown off the first drive. From there, the Chargers didn't score off the next drive, and Lawrence throws a pick. And then you're thinking, okay, so here we go. Chargers defense have got them back in the game. But no, the Chargers stopped them. They limited them to 3 points. I think that was huge. And I think that was just the way the game was going to go. That was a massive play for the Jags defense, leaving them at 3 points. And then from there on, it was one-way traffic. So they get picked, the Chargers only get 3 points, and from the very, very next drive, they score another touchdown. It's a massive boost for a team when that happens. The defense helps them out, and then they go back and they repay the defense with a touchdown. That's massively boosting for the offensive team, and that must have been a gut punch for the Chargers, and the game just went on and on like that. Saying all that, they went in at halftime pretty close, and Herbert didn't do well. He did, though, probably throw the best throw and catch of the game to Allen. But that was probably it. That was the highlight of his entire game. However, it went into halftime. I was watching it thinking, they're still in with the shout here. They could probably still win this game. How wrong I was. Jags were incredible on the ground today. They ran so... We mentioned the running yards earlier from both Tootin and Etienne. Even Lawrence chipped in with a running touchdown, and then he started throwing. Now, he didn't actually throw for that many yards for a quarterback with Lawrence's quality because he didn't need to. But once they started firing, his throw, he looked like he wasn't going to miss. So the running game was awesome. It put the Chargers on the back foot for the entire game. And then every time Lawrence threw, apart from the one pick that he threw, he didn't look like he was going to miss today. And that was because the offensive line and the running game was so strong. And honestly, after they scored their touchdown after halftime, they honestly looked like they were going to score at every single play. And they pretty much did. When Herbert gets the ball back, he throws a great play, he makes a great run, and then he throws a pick to level up with Lawrence. The big difference here is that the Jags go back to the other end and they do get a touchdown. They punish the Chargers for the mistake that Herbert made. And off the back of that, Herbert then gets substituted and the game goes on and on. Just want to have a look at some of the defensive plays here for some of the touchdowns. If you look at the way the offensive linemen work, they create those gaps so well. So they're not pushing in a straight line, they push on an angle, and they create massive holes right on the line. And it just made it so easy for the running backs to go in and score. And even when the backfield stepped up to try and stop them, it wasn't enough. The running backs are big, powerful players. They picked up a head of speed. There was no defensive lineman to stop them, and the backfield just couldn't cope with them at that point. They picked up too much speed. They're always going to score a touchdown. Great offensive and defensive display from the Jags. Massively deserved the game. How wrong was I? The Chargers have to wipe their mouth of us. They have to try and recover. It was a big defeat. They have to forget about it. Get out next time, because they're still got a chance to make the playoffs. So they've got to forget. They've got to get out there next week and try and win. Right, so last week I got 8 right out of the games that I predicted. So let's have a look at this week's results, and we'll see how well I did. So I thought I was going to do well, but there were a couple of surprises again. So the Bills bounced back brilliantly against the Bucks, 44-32. Sounds like a pretty good game. I haven't watched it yet, but I will watch it back. I did predict the Bills would bounce back after that loss to the Dolphins. I got the Ravens, and I called this would be a pretty close game between the Ravens and Seahawks. Both teams have been pretty on it. So a narrow victory, 21-19. Definitely going to watch that one back. That sounds like it was a really tight game. So that's two right now. The Niners beat the Cardinals 41-22. I also guessed that one right. The Giants lost to the Packers 27-20. That's 4 right out of 4 so far. And then we've got the Ravens beat the Browns. So again, 5 out of 5. I am on it at the moment. I got this one wrong though. So the Broncos beat the Chiefs 22-19. The Chiefs are in a bit of trouble here. They might not even make the wild card. They got Colts next week. That's going to be a tricky match. They got to win that. Again, not a Chiefs fan, but I couldn't find my Jags top. I wanted to wear my Jags top for this video because we were reviewing the Jags. Couldn't fucking find it. Hey ho. So now that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6 so far. So then we got obviously the Jags game I got wrong, so that's 5 out of 7. I got the Cowboys to lose to the Dolphins, so that's another one for me. I got the Bears to beat the Vikings, so I got that one wrong. So the Vikings won 7. Sorry, I tell a lie. I had the Vikings to win, but they got beaten by the Bears 19-17. And I had the Bengals to beat the Steelers, but they lost quite easily, 12-34. I did guess the Texans, the Titans. I thought that would be a close game. I got that one right, 16-13. And then we got the Carolina Panthers against the Falcons, another tight game. I got that one right. I fancied the Panthers. So that was 30-27. So I had a total of, I got 8 and 15 this week, 8 and 15. The Eagles game, I mean, it's still going on while I've been filming this, so I don't know that, but I did have the Eagles to win. So I think I will finish on 9 and 16, but right now I'm 8 and 15. So I got 8 right last week. I got 8 right this week. Not doing too badly, but some work to do. With that in mind, let's go on to next week's predictions. So we got the Bills at the Texans. I think the Bills have got that one. I'm going to go for the Chiefs to beat the Colts. I mean, they weren't very well. I haven't watched the game, but it doesn't sound like they had a good performance again. So the Chiefs, but I think they'll bounce back. And the Chiefs beat the Colts. Let's face it, they have to. I think the Seahawks will beat the Titans. I think the Packers will beat the Vikings. I got the Vikings game wrong this week, so hopefully I'll get it right next. And then I got the Ravens to beat the Jets. I think that's, I think we can all agree there. The Steelers to beat the Bears. They're a bit unpredictable, the Steelers, but hopefully they're predictable this weekend. I got the Pats to beat the Bengals. I got the Lions to beat the Giants. I think I can't see the Jags losing to the Cardinals after a game like they just had. So they're going to beat the Cardinals for me. The Eagles will beat the Cowboys. The Falcons will obviously beat the Saints, obviously. Rams and the Bucks sounds like it's going to be a really cracking match, but I do fancy the Rams. They just find a way of winning at the moment. And the Niners to beat the Panthers. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this weekend's football. Hope you're enjoying my videos. If you agree or disagree with what I'm saying, please hit me up in the comments and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you next time.